O Zoom, cara. Tá, ele tá aberto agora. Esse é o Zoom. Esse é o Zoom também, é o último aqui, ó. O Zoom, cara. Beleza, agora deu tudo certo. Diga algo aí, Luciano, por favor.
Perfect. Let's do it.
Yes, that's right. Today is 100% in English, huh?
Of
Today,
course. Let's do
we
it.
shall not speak Portuguese tonight.
Ay, ay, ay.
Yeah, that's Spanish. It's
Yeah.
more like Spanish. Amazing. Your audio is perfect. Everything's perfect. We are live. Welcome to another episode of the Business Experience Podcast. Good evening, Luciano. Thank you very much for being here with me again tonight.
Good evening, Pablo and our listeners. Let's do it.
Amazing. So tonight we're going to talk about and how can you have you're going to understand how to have an inspirational view on things and how to foster your inspirational communication. I would like to also explain that we are going to understand why some companies, why some brands have more success than others, even having access to the same resources, and you are also going to see how this affects your career, your professional life, and how to improve in this regard. Without any further ado, this is the Business Experience Podcast. All right, today we had our intro and we are good to go. Let's start with a quick warm-up then. I would like to start by asking Luciano two questions. So this is all about leadership. You can see this image. It represents a bit what leadership means. And this question also works for you listeners, okay? So you that are listening right now, live, you can ask on the chat. You can leave your comment or on the comments if you watch later. So this question is for you to answer. As a leader, what do you do to inspire other people?
Well, I believe that there is an expression in English there that is walk the talk. You most probably heard of this expression that is say things and do the things you say. So, how do I inspire other people? I believe that nowadays we have a lot of things to do, a lot of work, and I try to do the work myself and tell people that that's the way we will achieve things. We gotta work towards our objective. Quite similar to the picture we are seeing. So, in the picture, I will describe the picture for you that is listening. There are three people on a boat, and they are moving towards a place. So they are all trying to reach a place together, and there is a person pointing out to a place. So in this case, I believe that everyone is working towards the same goal, the same objectives. So I try to inspire other people by working, showing myself as an example, walking the talk, and that's already a good starting point, I believe. What you think about it?
Wow, that's from my point of view, it goes beyond the starting point because this is the actual essence of leadership. It's not only explaining what you need to do, but it's actually doing it by showing how to do. It's not like, oh, let me come here and I'll tell you what to do. It's like, come here and see me doing so you can do it. And of course, after years doing it, so walking the talk, it's when you say, look, do what I do. Exactly. Because the opposite of walking the talk is hypocrisy. It's when you say, do what I say, don't do what I do, right? So this is the best way of leading by example. Amazing, pretty good. And
Perfect.
awesome. The second question comes with this tone. Why do some companies inspire loyalty while others don't?
Well, I'm not sure I have a lot of insight into it, but from my perspective, it is that a lot of companies don't have a strong culture. So you must tell people, how do we develop a good culture? I believe that in order to reach that point that everyone is happy, everyone is loyal to a brand or a company, they must know why they're doing things. So, why am I coming to work and why am I doing the activities I am? So, it's quite similar to going to the gym or exercising. If you don't have a clear goal, you just want to lose weight for the sake of losing weight, you're probably gonna fail. But if you have a strong why, you will most probably achieve your goal.
Wow, I couldn't have said better, taken from our previous episode. That's real. That's extremely true. Because when you know the reason why you wake up in the morning every day, why you get out of bed, this is the ultimate tool for inspiration. Perfect. Knowing your why. And this is all connected to the book, right? We're talking about this book. The name of this book is To Start With Why. It has been written by Simon Sinek. And you're going to understand what this book is about and understand two very important key concepts from this book: the golden circle and the celery test. What Luciano told us right now, why it's connected to the golden circle, and they come from the book Start With Why by Simon Sinek. And you're going to see, of course, how to apply these concepts in business discussions using professional language, and of course in your life to be a better leader and even to have advantage in some situations. There are insightful ideas I would like to bring later on. So let's get started as usual with an audio. This audio comes with 5 affirmations, and Luciano is going to decide if these affirmations are true or false as usual. And you, our audience, feel free to give your insights as well. Please tell us in the comments if they are true or false according to your opinion. We are going to play the audio 1 or twice, depending on if Luciano requests it. And, well, no secrets, but I would like you to pay attention to the why thing. So Luciano was very assertive when he said that companies that inspire, they know why they do things. So if you understand this concept, listening to this audio won't be difficult at all. Ready?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
I was watching this talk by Simon Sinek. He says that great leaders and companies start with why, not what or how. They first clarify their purpose and everything else follows.
Right? Like in the golden circle, the center is why, then comes how, and finally what. Most people communicate from the outside in, but real influence starts from the inside out.
Exactly. He gave the example of Apple. They don't say we make great computers. They say we believe in challenging the status quo. That's the why. The products are just proof of that belief.
And then there's the celery test. Remember that?
Yes. You don't just copy what other people are doing. If your why is health, you don't buy cookies because someone recommended them. You get celery. Your choices need to align with your message.
That's so true. It's not just about saying your purpose, it's about using it to make consistent decisions.
Awesome. How did that feel, Luciano? One is enough? Would you like to listen one more time?
Well, I have a suggestion for us. Maybe we can listen to it one more time and then try to answer questions one, two, and three, and perhaps listen to it one last time before we answer number four and five.
Wow,
What do you think?
that's a great suggestion. It helps people with refreshing their memories regarding what they just heard. Good.
Okay,
Well, let's
so
listen again.
let's go. Yeah, let's listen.
Awesome.
I was watching this talk by Simon Sinek. He says that great leaders and companies start with why, not what or how. They first clarify their purpose, and everything else follows.
Right? Like in the golden circle, the center is why, then comes how, and finally what. Most people communicate from the outside in, but real influence starts from the inside out.
Exactly. He gave the example of Apple. They don't say we make great computers. They say we believe in challenging the status quo. That's the why. The products are just proof of that belief.
And then there's the Celery Test. Remember that?
Yes. You don't just copy what other people are doing. If your why is health, you don't buy cookies because someone recommended them. You get celery. Your choices need to align with your message.
That's so true. It's not just about saying your purpose, it's about using it to make consistent decisions.
Amazing. So let's start with the first three.
Bring it on.
Let's do it. So the first one says, the golden circle starts with what and ends with why. Is this true or false?
No, not according to what I heard. I believe this one is false because we start, first of all, for me, it's clear we start with why. Then we say how we're going to do things, and finally what we're going to do. And for me, that's not natural. That didn't come naturally when I started working. But nowadays, after reading the book, it is clear now. Always starting with why.
Exactly. The most important thing is not how you do things, it's the purpose, it's why you do things. Great work, mister. What about the second? Emily says Apple focuses on innovation before products.
Well, based on what she said, I don't have a lot of information from Apple. I don't follow them much. But based on what Emily said, I believe this one is true.
Interesting. Yeah, people that buy Apple phones, and I'm not an Apple, how can I say, assiduous client, but people that buy Apple phone buy because of their innovation and integration. And before buying a beautiful phone that works well, they buy innovation and integration. That's why they do things, to challenge the status quo. Amazing.
That's it.
That's it. What about the third one? The celery test helps leaders make random decisions.
Oh, this one is easy. It's not random. No random at all. So this is false for sure.
That's right. It's quite the opposite.
Exactly.
Good. So, following your suggestion, I believe we shall listen, we shall play the audio a third time, and then decide the last two affirmations.
Let's go with it.
Let's.
To make it clear, I'm suggesting things on the go. So we're doing things here using flow. So let's go with it.
Exactly, in the best podcast style.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I was watching this talk by Simon Sinek. He says that great leaders and companies start with why, not what or how. They first clarify their purpose, and everything else follows.
Right? Like in the golden circle, the center is why, then comes how, and finally what. Most people communicate from the outside in, but real influence starts from the inside out.
Exactly. He gave the example of Apple. They don't say we make great computers, they say we believe in challenging the status quo. That's the why. The products are just proof of that belief.
And then there's the celery test. Remember that?
Yes, you don't just copy what other people are doing. If your why is health, you don't buy cookies because someone recommended them. You get celery. Your choices need to align with your message.
That's so true. It's not just about saying your purpose, it's about using it to make consistent decisions.
Interesting. So, according the audio just confirmed the first three that Luciano just said. Great work. And now comes the last two affirmations. So, proceeding to number 4, the why should influence every business choice.
This is true. When we base our answer on the audio and also our experience, starting with why makes our lives so much easier. Because if you don't have a purpose, why are you doing that? Then we don't have a starting point. When we have this concept in mind, we will always have a clear why. And if we don't, maybe we shouldn't do it.
Wow, that's great. You listeners, I would like you to write down these words. Luciano said that it makes our lives easier. Understanding our why makes our lives easier. Write this down. Mark these words because they're going to be important very soon later on our podcast. So, last but not least, affirmation of sentence number 5 says that Daniel is the male speaker from the audio. It says that he believes saying your why is enough.
Well, this is connected to the first question. So only why is not enough. So this is false because we need to have a why, a how, and a what. When we combine all of the three, I believe we have a strong foundation.
That's true. That's true. There's a quote. It's a very simple one, cliche, but it's true. That says, "Don't let your dreams be dreams." If you have just a why, you have just a dream, right? If you don't have a how, if you don't have a what, if you don't have a how, it's impossible to have a what, which is like your goal. Why is the beginning. Your goal is the what. If you have just why, you don't have nothing, right?
Great analogy. I had never thought about it before, but it makes totally sense. 100%. You're totally correct. Great analogy, by the way.
Thank you kindly. So yeah, and this brings us to this phrase that causes reflection. Purpose-driven communication is more persuasive and more sustainable. You are going to understand how it works by breaking down the golden circle. That's what we're doing right now. I'm displaying an image that has 3 circles, one inside of the other. Or describing it from another perspective, there's a small circle and there's the word why written inside of this small circle. There is a median circle around the smaller circle with the word how. And finally, there's a larger circle around both with the word what. So the golden circle is displayed as 3 circles, one inside of the other, as there's a smaller circle in the middle. And what is the explanation? Is that most of people start with what? Because every single organization on the planet knows what they do, right? Everybody knows what they do. If you think about what do you do? Oh, you help people understanding I don't know, laws. In our case, we teach business English. Everybody knows. Most of people know how to do things. You know the technical process, the all the technical jargons related to what you need to do, related to the tasks you need to carry out. But not everyone. I risk to say a very few percentage of people know why they do it. And that's what makes companies that have success, companies that can inspire, that's what makes them different. If you compare, for instance, Apple with other companies, they have access to the same talent, they have the same structure. So why is Apple worth $1 trillion, nearly, or I don't know if that's exactly the word, or 2 trillion, something like this. But why is this company so valuable? Because they don't communicate starting with what. Most of companies do. So if I ask you, Luciano, we make high-end, cutting-edge technology computers. They are beautifully designed. They have the best specifications. Want to buy one? What's going to be your...
If I really need a computer, I would perhaps ask a few more things about the computer and maybe buy it.
Right.
Do you
So,
have an alternative?
of course I do. But you see, you would ask a couple of things. Now, Apple is different because Apple start with why. They say, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe that technology should be easy to use, easy to get. And we do that with the best top talent market professionals of the world. We just happen to make good computers and beautifully designed computers. Want to buy one? It's much more impactful.
That sounds much better. And even if the person, yeah, I see your point. I believe that starting with why they, I'm not 100% sure, but they position themselves as a brand that they produce the best phones that are easy to use, right? They are all integrated and easy to use. I believe that's their main point, right? That's their why. They wanted to make as the phone is part of you. It's not hard to use. It's not something different, right? So it is something that is easy to use, seamless.
Exactly. Seamless is the word. That's why they are number one, and that's why most of other brands copycat Apple. Right? You see, Apple
They try.
they do, because the first iPhone was a game changer of the industry. So
Exactly, but they don't succeed because they don't have such a strong why.
exactly, they just know what they do. They even know how to do, but a lot of companies don't know their why. How can you convince your client? Why should your client care about your company, about your business, right? So this is your why. It's why you wake up in the morning every day. What is your cause? What is your belief? So the why, the definition of why, is the belief or purpose that drives an individual or an organization. Not just an organization. I will be talking about individuals soon. And what about the definition of how, Luciano? Could you tell us what is the definition of how?
Well, the how are the methods, all of the steps, the kind of the macro of what you're gonna do. So you need to know the main steps and then go over the sub steps. And then I believe that's the what we're going to do, right? The how, using a more business term, we could say those are the milestones of a project, the bigger
Perfect.
picture,
Perfect.
and
Milestones.
then go ahead.
Sorry, interrupting. Milestones are objectives inside of a bigger goal, right? Are like sub goals. Is that it?
Well, I could say that milestones are important, yeah, are important points, right? When we're trying to achieve a goal, we have a perhaps a main goal, why we're doing things, and then we have some points along the way that we know for sure that we are getting to that why. And then those points would be called milestones, the how we're going to do things.
They show our progress. Interesting.
Yeah. And then we have the what. Finally, the what. So the what would be the actions or products. The what would be what actions are you gonna take today? This is more tangible, the most tangible part of what we're talking about now. The what are the actions or results that you wanna take?
Exactly. What is the last part because it's the result of your why. Why are you here? So we could just say, what do? We teach English. But why are we here? Because we believe that education transforms lives. And we believe that people can have the career of their dreams with a material that is 100% customized, that is 100% personal. That's why we're here. We're here to help. We're here to transform. We're not here just to give you a lesson, right? That's our why.
Exactly. That would be really hard to wake up every single day and do the same things over and over. And when you have this why, we're thinking about each person, we're thinking about every person is a unique individual. That's why it doesn't get boring. We are doing something with a strong why. Even though we have similar activities daily, but we have a strong why. We are not doing things in a repetitive manner, but rather we're doing things that will make other people advance in their lives. They will be able to reach new levels in their careers and also in their personal lives. Because when you're able to communicate in English, every single person I see that they develop and they are able to speak, they are much happier. Do you feel that too?
100%. 100%. Much happier, and we can say that our students they improve even their confidence, right? It's not just it's not just career, it's everything else.
Exactly. And when you have a strong why, because let's take English as an example. When you don't have a strong why, you know what you need to do. You need to study every day. You need to have consistency. You don't need exactly to study all days of the week, 5 hours a day, but it is important to keep consistency, and that's easier achieved or rather easily achieved when you have a strong why. You want to perhaps travel abroad, you don't want to depend on a translator, you want to be able to contribute in the meetings you're attending. So that's your why. Then the students that have this strong why, I see that they are able to progress much faster. English is not a pain for them, it's something that it's a tool that is helping them progress faster in their careers and in their personal lives too.
Exactly. Consistency, it's something that most people don't get, be honest. A lot of our students get, but some struggle more than others. And the ones that struggle less, the ones that achieve, that master consistency, is because they know their why, as you said. There's an Aldous Huxley quote that says, consistency is against the human life. It's against life. sorry, let me rephrase. Consistency is against life, it's against nature. The only truly consistent people are dead. And this is so true. But that doesn't mean we need to accept it. It's not because it's not easy that we should embrace it. In fact, consistency is the only way to get to the top, to get where you want to be where you want to be. And every day you need to remember why you were there again and again. That's it.
Exactly. Can you say the quote one last time just to make sure we all got it?
Great suggestion. So it says, consistency, it's something like this, okay? That's not exactly the word. I may alter, I may change one word or two, but it's something like this. Consistency, it's against nature, it's against life. The only truly consistent people are dead. This is it.
Wow. This is really deep, and from what I understand from this quote is that it is almost impossible, if not impossible, to be 100% consistent, totally consistent. And there will be days you will miss your target. There will be days you will not feel that well. There will be days you will not feel like it. However, even though you're not feeling like it, you go there and do the thing. And if you miss 1 or 2 days, that's not a problem because that's what you're saying, right? It's against our nature. It is, there are really few things we do daily. For example, eating. We cannot run from it. Of course, you can stay 1, maybe 2 days without eating. I never tried that. But English or exercising or different activities, it is really, really hard to maintain consistency. But keep in mind that if you miss 1 or 2 days, that's not a problem. It's what you do after that. What are you going to do now? Will you miss another day, or will you go there after missing 1 or 2 days, go there and break the cycle of not doing the thing? Think about your why and just go there. We all have our phones at hand. Just go there, and 10 minutes is more than enough. Listening to this podcast, you're already ahead of at least 50% of people that are trying to learn English.
Exactly. So, and if you listen both episodes that we launch weekly, you're gonna be even further. So, that's it. What Luciano is saying, if from my point of view, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's basically do it, right? Regardless of how difficult it is, and regardless if you have missed, if you have failed in consistency, try again. No worries, just try again, because most of people are not. And when you try, when you do it, you are ahead of most of people.
And now, Pablo, changing a little bit of our focus now. You talked in the beginning about a thing called the Celery Test. Can you tell us more about it?
Absolutely. Just one quick note before we dive we dive
Sure.
into the salary test. I would like also you to consider using the golden circle as a tool of job interviews, because when you were in a job interview and if you receive, for example, an opportunity to work in another company or an opportunity of promotion, and you need to go through an interview again, there is the chance that people are going to ask you, why do you want to work here, or why do you want this promotion, or just I don't know, do you like your job or something like this. Using the golden circle might give you advantage on this regard, because think of this: most of people are going to say what they do. Oh, why do you want to work here? Oh, because I'm very good at what I do. Why do you want to be? Why do you want to be an English teacher here? Because I'm a good teacher. I teach well. This is the what. This is what everybody says. When you answer this question using the golden circle, you start with why. And when you start with why, you say something like this. In my case, for example, I'm an English teacher. So if someone asks me, why do you want to work here? I would say, because my goals align with yours. Your company believes in changing in transforming people's lives through education. And a teacher, it's the person that makes learning easy. And this is transforming people's lives through education. So you tell your purpose. Why do you want to work in that company? Because my purpose aligns with your purpose. We have the same objective, helping people, transforming people's lives, transforming education, making learning easier. So if you do use the golden circle in a job interview, the chance of being hired is probably going to be higher. Higher, two similar words, but you got what I said. Great. Now we're ready to move on to the celery test.
Let's go. I'm curious. Tell me more about it.
Amazing. So the celery test comes as an analogy, or not an analogy, but there's a word for that. It's a story. It's like a chronicle. It's a story where a person has a job, a store of fitness products. So imagine that you are the owner of a fitness products store, and you're thinking about adding celery. Celery, it's a vegetable, right? It's a specific vegetable, and you were thinking about adding this item to your store to sell. However, you go to an event of investors and business people and business owners, and someone advises you to buy M&Ms instead. M&Ms, it's a candy. It's a colorful candy. It's a small candy around, and they are going to tell you, or someone is going to tell you to buy M&Ms to your store because it sells a lot, because it gives a lot of return over investment, and it's a fever, people are buying, so do it. Even though it's tempting to accept this offer of buying M&Ms to display it on your store, when you remember your why, you realize it is a bad idea. Because if your purpose is to help people having a healthy life, if you have a healthy products store, it means that you want people to have a healthy life. So buying celery makes much more sense than buying M&Ms. Even though it sells a lot in someone else's store, this other person's store doesn't have the same objective, the same why as yours. Your why is helping people being fitness, helping people having a healthy life. So it's a test. You remember your why, and you make this test to make decisions.
I like this framework. It is all connected to the why, how, and what, because we have this why. We want to help other people speak English, and in the concept you just told us, a fitness place that sells supplements. And in this case, if people sell chocolate or things that are not healthy, the how we're doing things, the what we're doing is completely unaligned. So this test puts all of the three together on a test, because it doesn't make any sense. If you say one thing, it is exactly what we're talking in the beginning. If you say one thing, okay, I want people to have your why, I want people to improve their health, I want people to improve their English, to speak better. And then I come to class and only show, and I ask them to write an email, just write during classes. This is like a celery test, right? And if I tell people my why is I want to help people communicate better. And then when they come to class, if I ask them just to write and read a news while in the class, I'm failing this test.
Exactly. You are driving away from your purpose.
Yeah,
And
so this is a really good analogy, the celery test.
indeed, and it might not be bad in the first moment, but in the long run, it's going to ruin your business. For example,
Hmm.
I'm going to give an example of us. There was a student that he wanted to learn English to talk in to teach gastronomy, right? He wanted English to teach gastronomy, to teach how to cook internationally. He had this opportunity to teach people internationally. He offered a high value to be my student. And remembering the salary test made me realize that the best answer was saying no. Because if I said yes to this student, as I said, in the first moment, I would receive a lot of money, but in the long run, I would have to drive away from my purpose, which is teaching for business. I don't teach how to cook. I teach how to have a better leadership style. I teach how to uh, talk English in meetings. So I would have to drive away from my purpose, study something totally different that would make me feel more tired, and I would be so tired I wouldn't be able to be a good teacher for the other students. So you see, when you drive away from your purpose, you ruin your professional life. You damage it in ways that sometimes is irreversible. So this is how important it is, all of this.
Exactly, I totally agree. Now that you mentioned this example, there are many students that they have a family, and sometimes they like the classes and they tell me, well, Luciano, could you teach my son or my daughter? And that's quite aligned with what you mentioned because teaching adults is one thing and teaching kids or teenagers is completely different. So when you try to do a lot of different things, you end up doing nothing in the end of the day. And that could even be the next book we talk about, essentialism.
Essentialism. I knew
Yes,
it.
exactly. That could be a real good topic in the near future. So always starting with why, I believe that it is a really good book, this one we covered today. And well, starting with why is the way to go and makes our lives easier and makes it easier to wake up in the morning as well.
Exactly. If you want to be consistent and if you want to have real achievements uh, beyond focus, that last week we analyzed the deep work. You need a focus if you want to achieve higher things. But beyond that, you need to have consistency. So you need to have the golden circle in your mind, in your mindset, and you need to have a very clear purpose. That's where the seller task is going to help you. And I thought about essentialism, exactly the same book Luciano mentioned. So that's how we're aligned on this topic. That's I believe we are doing a great work, starting with why, aren't we?
That's it. I totally agree. And if you, listener, want us to reveal a book that you're reading, or a book that you already read, or any book really, please put it in the comment section and we will do our best to cover it in future episodes.
Exactly. We actually appreciate if you do it. Next episode is gonna be very interesting. It's gonna be special, and for the future, your suggestions might come in handy. And of course, you will be able to learn English from something you like and from something you would like to know as well. And this is how we conclude our episode of our tonight's episode of the Business Experience podcast. It's always a huge honor to have you here, Luciano. Thank you very much once again.
My pleasure, Pablo. Good talk as usual, and looking forward to the next episode.
So am I. And thank you, dear listeners and global leaders. Feel free to ask any questions in the comments if you're listening through YouTube or Spotify. If you are a student of our group, stay tuned. We're going to send extra materials, polls regarding our podcasts, and of course, the links of the next episodes. If you would like to be a student, also feel free to comment to show your interest. We will find a way to get in touch. Thank you very much, and see you in our next episode.